Beetle. Leaping down upon the underworld to smash gangland comes the mysterious, all-powerful character who is a problem to the police, but a crusader for law. In reality, Dan Garrett, a rookie patrolman, loved by everyone, but suspected by none of being the Blue Beetle. As the Blue Beetle, he hides behind a strange mask and a suit of impenetrable blue chain armor, flexible as silk, but stronger than steel. Today's transcribed episode of the Fox feature, The Blue Beetle, is entitled The Dancing Ghosts of Rocky Hills. Perched high on a rocky crag overlooking the ocean, not many miles from York City, sits Gray Craig's Manor. Surrounded by high stone walls, the large house dominates an estate of some 300 acres in Rocky Hills, Eastchester County. Residents of Rocky Hills say the place is haunted. Some claim to have seen, from a distance on moonlight nights, the shadowy figures of dancers in the ballroom of the east wing of the manor. As our story opens today, Patrolman Dan Garrett, who is really the Blue Beetle, little realizes that his next adventure will take him to Gray Craig's Manor. He is talking with his friend, Dr. Franz, in the little apothecary shop.
Danny, here's an item I clipped out of the personal column of the Chronicle this morning.
Addressed to the Blue Beetle.
I thought you'd be interested.
Somebody's kidding the Blue Beetle.
You think so?
Yeah, listen. Attention, Blue Beetle. Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet, eating her curds and whey. Along came a spider and sat down beside her and scared the poor girl away. Why should anyone address nursery rhymes to me?
There's a secret message in cipher concealed in that nursery rhyme.
Are you serious, Doc?
Yes. I deciphered it just before you came in.
Oh, what's the message, Doc? How were you able to solve it?
Well, the difference in size of type used throughout the rhyme gave me a clue. The young lady has evidently been reading Francis Bacon.
Young lady?
Yes, young lady.
Well, this begins to look like a romantic adventure. And what makes you think she's been reading Francis Bacon?
Well, he used to write many of his plays and poems in cipher similar to this.
That's very interesting. What method did you evolve from this nursery doggerel, Doc?
Well, here it is, deciphered. Young heiress in dire distress. Only Blue Beetle can help. Come alone, midnight, Gray Craig's Manor. Urgent.
Gray Craig's Manor. That's out at Rocky Hill.
Yes, the place is supposed to be haunted.
It sounds like a trap for the Blue Beetle, but it's certainly intriguing.
Yes, isn't it?
I think I'll take a run out there now and look the place over by daylight.
Oh, why don't you? But be careful, Danny. That section used to be infested with bootleggers and rum runners during Prohibition. It's along the seashore, lots of coves and inlets with rocky cliffs overhanging the sea.
Sounds interesting.
Are you planning on taking Officer Manigan with you?
Oh, poor Mike's laid up with a bad case of poison ivy.
That's tough on Mike.
Yes, the old war horse is champing at the bit. I'm going to drop by and see him.
Well, tell him I hope he'll be back on the job again soon.
I will. Goodbye, Doc. See you later.
Check the roll, buddy.
No, I have plenty of oil, thanks. What do I owe you?
$1.
There you are.
Oh, thanks.
By the way, who lives in that old mansion up on the hill, overlooking the ocean there?
Mostly ghosts, buddy.
Don't tell me you believe in ghosts.
Well, I don't know. Some folks in the village here claim to have heard music and seen figures dancing in a ballroom as they walked along the road.
Hasn't anyone visited the place?
Nobody around here. There's a guy with a club foot on guard at the entrance to the estate. Sort of a caretaker. He don't let nobody in.
Doesn't anybody live in the manor house?
Yeah, there's a young girl, Rosalie Greenhole, and her aunt just moved in. She inherited the place, I heard.
Is that so? How recently did they move in?
About a week ago.
Ever see them?
Sure. They drive by here every day in an old-fashioned carriage drawn by a couple of swell-looking horses.
Who drives them?
An old man in an old-fashioned coachman's uniform.
You sure they're not all ghosts?
Well, sure, I'm sure. Well, Joe Digby on the corner there sells them groceries and things. He says the coachman does all the ordering. The girl and her aunt don't talk to nobody. They're kind of snooty, Joe says.
Well, that's very interesting. I've got to get along.
Ghosts or no ghosts, a fellow's got to make a living.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? Well, so long, buddy, and stay away from haunted houses.
Well?
I was wondering if I could drive through the gates there and up to the manor house. I'm a camera fiend, and I'd like to take some shots of the house and the ocean.
Ain't no one allowed on the grounds. Owner's orders.
No. Well, you suppose if I phoned up to the house from your lodge there, the owners would give me permission to take some pictures?
Ain't got no phone.
What are those wires running up the road there?
Them's electric light wires.
I see. Well, thanks for the information.
Oh, excuse me, stranger. My alarm clock's going off. Must have set it wrong this morning.
Hello. That you, Clubfoot? This is Blackie. What's that? Some guy wanted to take pictures of the place. Wasn't a harness wall, was it? Oh, all right. Now listen. The girl got a message out from the Blue Beetle somehow. The old man's lawyer saw it in the newspaper. Be on the lookout for the Blue Beetle. With the spider wires, too. Okay. So tomorrow, Spider's taking a suitcase of the queer over to Mac at Hastings when he takes the girl and around out for a drive. Right. Take care of things. Goodbye.
Midnight. I wonder if the Blue Beetle got my... What's that noise? Oh,
Good evening. Or should I say good morning?
the Blue Beetle.
Yes, the Blue Beetle. You sent for me. Here I am.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm in such trouble and so frightened. Will you help me?
The Blue Beetle is always ready to help anyone in distress.
I didn't know what to do. You were the only one I felt could help me. I'm watched every minute. This place, it's so spooky. It terrifies me.
Then why do you stay here?
I must. By the terms of my late uncle's will, I have to remain here until I'm 21 in order to inherit the money that goes with this place.
That's a strange condition to put in a will. Who lives here with you?
My maiden aunt, Uncle Nathaniel's sister, Abigail.
If you're watched the way you say you are, how did you get the message in the Chronicle?
Well, I wrote a note to the Chronicle, enclosed some money with it in a stamped envelope, and addressed it, and dropped it outside of Digby's grocery store yesterday, hoping that someone would find it and mail it.
Well, what goes on here? Why all the secrecy?
Well, I don't know exactly, but I've seen some of the strangest men around here. I've heard the gatekeeper call our coachman Spider, and I heard Spider call the gatekeeper Clubfoot. Mr. Jasper, that's Uncle's lawyer, says that they're old retainers of Uncle Nathaniel's. The others, he says, are workmen hired to fix the place, but they seem to work only at night.
What's that music?
That's one of the things that frightens me. It's so ghostly. It comes from the other wing of the house.
Have you ever been in that part of the house, Miss Greenhold?
No. No, the door to that wing is locked, and I'm not permitted to go there. Mr. Jasper says that Uncle wanted that wing kept sacred to memories of his only love. A girl he met at a dance in the ballroom there one moonlit night. She died the night they were to be married.
I'd like to get over there and make a little investigation.
Well, I can show you the iron door that leads to that wing of the house, but you'll find it's locked.
The Blue Beetle carries master keys to all locks. Let's have a look.
Here you are. Right through here. Now down this passageway. Here we are. That's the door to the east wing.
Now we'll just try these keys. No, not that one. Here's one that looks as if it might fit. There we are.
Look. Look there. There's shadows of dancers on the wall, but no sound of voices. It's uncanny. It must be...
Ghosts. I've always wanted to meet a ghost. You stay here. I'd better lock this door after me.
Oh, no, please take me with you, Blue Beetle. I'm afraid to be left alone here.
No. You'll be safer in your part of the house. I'll be back as soon as I've had a look around.
The Blue Beetle walks into the trap. Down you go into the prison pit with the ghost of the departed pirate captain. So you wanted to meet a ghost? Well, you'll meet plenty down there.
Blue Beetle! Blue Beetle, what's happened to you? What's happened to the Blue Beetle?
What has happened to the Blue Beetle? Who are the strange people who have made Gray Crag's Manor their headquarters? Can the Blue Beetle extricate himself and solve the mystery of the dancing ghosts of Rocky Hills? These questions will be dramatically answered in the next transcribed episode of The Blue Beetle. Is a copyrighted box feature appearing in Mystery Men Comics magazine and the Blue Beetle magazine. The Blue Beetle is on the air twice a week on this same station. Consult the broadcast schedule in your local newspapers. And don't forget to listen in to The Blue Beetle. Down upon the underworld to smash gangland comes
the mysterious, all-powerful character who is a problem to the police, but a crusader for law. In reality, Dan Garrett, a rookie patrolman, loved by everyone, but suspected by none of being the Blue Beetle. As the Blue Beetle, he hides behind a strange mask and a suit of impenetrable blue chain armor, flexible as silk, but stronger than steel.
Today's transcribed episode of the Fox feature, The Blue Beetle, is the second part of the story entitled The Dancing Ghosts of Rocky Hills. In the previous episode, the Blue Beetle, through the personal column of the Chronicle, receives a call for aid from the new heiress at haunted Gray Crag's Manor at Rocky Hills. Rumor has it that on moonlit nights, ghostly figures dance in the ballroom of Gray Crag's Manor. The heiress, a young girl, Rosalie Greenhold, and her maiden aunt are closely guarded by two persons, a man called Spider, who serves as coachman, and a man with a club foot who claims to have been gatekeeper for the late owner, Nathaniel Greenhold. Entering the manor at midnight, the Blue Beetle talks secretly with Rosalie Greenhold. As the episode ended, the Blue Beetle was investigating the dancing ghost phenomenon when a trap door suddenly opened in front of him, and he was catapulted into a deep dungeon. As our story opens today, a Mr. Jasper, attorney for the estate, is talking with Blackie, whom the police suspect of being a desperate criminal.
Oh, look, Blackie, suppose you let me handle this situation.
After all, I'm the attorney for old man Greenhold's estate and sole executor of the will.
But the girl, Jasper. The girl. She'll have the cops on her necks.
I can handle her.
But something's got to be done to keep her quiet. After all, she got a message through to the Blue Beetle.
And he's lying at the bottom of the pit where pirates used to throw their victims.
But is he dead?
Oh, the chances are his neck's broken, thanks to the spider.
Suppose he ain't dead or injured.
Well, he's securely locked in. Double locks and an iron door.
Well, I'll feel better if I went out and had a look for myself.
Well, that's all right, but do it under cover of darkness.
What about the girl?
I'll fake a message from the Blue Beetle and see that she gets it. She'll think he escaped and is coming back. That'll keep her quiet for a few days until you can move your plates and presses to some other location. They've been there long enough. The place is getting hot.
Someone's going to get wise to those phony ghosts and start investigating.
That's right. But by the terms of Nathaniel Greenhold's will, his niece Rosalie must live at the manor until she's 21.
And if she don't?
Then the whole estate, including a fortune in stocks and bonds, goes to charity.
With you as executor of the estate, it'll be slim pickings for charity.
I see. We understand each other. You've shared your counterfeiting profits with me. I'll share the estate with you. You get your counterfeiting equipment away from there, and we'll put on a haunted house campaign that will scare Rosalie Greenhold and her old maid aunt clear out of the state.
Well, just one key left to try. None of the others will fit. There. That's got it. Lucky I landed on my feet in this pit. No. The Blue Beetle's free of his prison. Hope no one heard me. I'd like to catch whoever's running this show off guard. There's a door. I'll try that. Stone stairway. The light at the top of it. Well, here goes.
I say, Blackie's taking an awful chance keeping this place as headquarters.
Yeah. It was okay for turning out this kind of dough until that dame came to live here. Them dancers upstairs throwing shadows on the windows sure scared folks away from this place.
Here, pile these bills in the suitcase with the others.
Okay. Well, I'll take it. It's probably Club put down the gate. Hello? Yeah, Spider's here. Just a minute. It's for you, Spider.
Hello? What? Blackie says dismantle the press? Yes. What? Good, yes. Okay. Yes, I got you. Huh? Deliver the fake do-re-mi to the laundry in Hastings when I take the girl and her aunt for a drive in the morning.
So that's how it's done.
Goodbye.
Well, the Blue Beetle will spoil that little game. But first, I'll have a look upstairs and see what makes the ghosts dance.
Well, I took your aunt's place on the drive this morning because I wanted to have a talk with you, Rosalie.
What about?
I don't think you trust me, my dear.
Why should I? I'm not permitted to have friends at the manor nor to visit outside places alone.
Those were your uncle's orders, Rosalie. After all, he wanted to protect you from fortune-hunting men and social parasites who might take advantage of your trusting nature when you came into your fortune.
But what about all those strange goings-on at the manor? Why, last night something terrible happened at...
What about last night? What happened?
Oh, I shouldn't have said anything.
Now, is there something you've been keeping from me, Rosalie? After all, your uncle trusted me. Why shouldn't you?
Well, last night, the Blue Beetle...
The Blue Beetle? Why, now, that's very interesting, because I clipped this out of the paper this morning. You may be the Rosalie this was addressed to. Now, here, read it.
To Rosalie. Had strange experience last night with ghosts, but am safe now. Advise you leave manor as soon as possible. Signed, the Blue Beetle. Oh, I knew I was right. That terrible place. I won't stay there another night.
Well, here we are at the laundry, Mr. Jasper. Shall I take the bag of wash in, sir?
Yes, take it in. But be sure to get a receipt, Spider.
Yes, sir.
Just a moment there. I'd like to have a look at that bag.
Now, what's the idea of this? Who are you?
I'm the sheriff of Eastchester County. I've had a telephone call to be on the lookout for you folks.
Why, this is an outrage. We're respectable citizens. This young lady is the owner of Gray Craig's Manor, and I'm her attorney.
Oh, well, then you won't mind my looking into this suitcase to make sure it's full of dirty clothes and not...
Spider, drive on. We'll not stand for this outrage.
Touch those horses, and I'll touch this trigger. Now, have a look in that suitcase. Money. Counterfeit. The Blue Beetle was right.
The Blue Beetle?
Yes, the Blue Beetle. He phoned me an hour ago.
Mr. Jasper, what does this mean?
Well, somebody must have switched suitcases on us. Well, this is a frame-up.
Oh, is that so? Well, I'd say you two are in a tough spot.
Oh, I demand to see your warrant, Sheriff. I stand on my constitutional rights. As a practicing attorney, my advice to you is...
As a practicing sheriff, my advice to you, Mr. Attorney, is... get a good lawyer.
Clubfoot's on the phone, Blackie.
Okay. Hello? What? The ghosts are dancing up at Gray Craig's. But it's only midday. Where's Spider? All right, phone up to Slim and tell him to stop the dancers. What? What's that? Slim doesn't answer. Something's gone haywire. You lock the gate and stand guard. I'll be out there pronto. Goodbye. I wonder where Slim is.
I don't know. Ain't nobody around.
Well, somebody shut off the mechanism of the dancing ghosts.
Yeah, we better have our gats ready.
You follow me and keep your eyes open. Nobody here.
I don't see no one. Something about this business don't smell right to me.
Look at that closet there. Someone may be hiding. Easy now.
Look!
Slim, bound and gagged.
I wonder who done this, Blackie.
The Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle!
Yes, the Blue Beetle. Raise your foot. I'll take that gun, Blackie.
Oh, no, you won't, Blue Beetle.
Oh, yes, I will. That takes care of Mr. Blackie. Now, Mr. Clubfoot, I hate to sock a cripple, but drop that gun or I'll...
Okay, Blue Beetle, you win.
Well, that's better. I'll just tie you up for safekeeping. The police will need you.
What for? The cops ain't got nothing on me.
Perhaps not. But I'm sure they'll want you to demonstrate those mechanical dancing dolls upstairs that threw ghostly shadows on the windows of the old ballroom. Sorry I can't stay for the final curtain, but I'll read about it in tomorrow's papers. The Blue Beetle's job is done. The dancing ghost of Rocky Hills will dance no more at Gray Craig's Manor.
And so another gang of criminals was rounded up and brought to justice by the Blue Beetle. But Officer Manigan couldn't make the arrest because of being laid up with poison ivy. The moral of this story is, deception can never win for long. Truth will always triumph in the end. Also, as Officer Manigan would say, stay away from poison ivy. What new adventures await the Blue Beetle in his unceasing crusade against crime? This question will be answered in the next transcribed episode of The Blue Beetle. Is a copyrighted Fox feature appearing in Mystery Men Comics magazine and the Blue Beetle magazine. The Blue Beetle is on the air twice a week on this same station. Consult the broadcast schedule in your local newspaper. And don't forget to listen in to The Blue Beetle.
Alright, that's the end of our first episode. We'll get to the second part in 5 minutes. Until then, do whatever you want for the next 5 minutes. Unless it's illegal, then don't do it. Blue Beetle will find you. Alright, this marks the end of the 5-minute break. Here comes part 2. Woo!
The Blue Beetle. Sweeping down upon the underworld to smash gangland comes
The mysterious, all-powerful character who is a problem to the police, but a crusader for law. In reality, Dan Garrett, a rookie patrolman, loved by everyone, but suspected by none of being the Blue Beetle. As the Blue Beetle, he hides behind a strange mask and a suit of impenetrable blue chain armor, flexible as silk, but stronger than steel.
Today's transcribed episode of the Fox feature, The Blue Beetle, is entitled The Whale of Pirates' Folly. As our story opens today, Patrolman Dan Garrett, who is really the Blue Beetle, is in Dr. Franz's little apothecary shop for an early morning call on his way to report at police headquarters. He is just about to leave.
Well, Doc, I'll be getting along.
Danny, I see you are in your civilian clothes.
Yes, left my uniform over at Sammy's place to be pressed.
Anything special doing at headquarters?
No, just routine duties.
Good morning, gentlemen. Could I interest you in some very fine perfumes? Imported they are.
Whom do you represent?
For myself, I'm selling them.
I buy perfumes only from recognized jobbers.
Yeah, and pay double the price.
All imported perfumes carry import duty, which adds to the cost, of course.
Not my perfumes, mister. Duty is for saps to pay.
Where do you get your perfumes?
Well, that's a secret, mister. Maybe for your girl you'd like a bottle, huh?
What scents have you?
All the famous names, mister. Midnight Rose, Love's Ambrosia, Passion Flower, Tears of Innocence. I got 'em all.
Let me smell them.
Sure, mister. Here. Sweet, ain't they?
Yes. It seems to be the real thing, all right. What do you charge for Midnight Rose?
$2 an ounce. But, of course, if you buy in large quantities, it's cheaper.
Oh, then you have a large source of supply?
Oh, sure. All you want, mister.
Then it's smuggled into the country.
Shh, mister. Hey, the cops might hear you. Of course it's smuggled in from the West Indies.
Why don't you buy an ounce, Doc, and make a test?
What? Huh? Oh, yes. If I found it the real thing, I might be interested in doing a little business with you.
Sure, Doc. Here, I'll give it to you out of this big bottle, just to prove everything's on the up and up.
Yes, of course. We want everything on the up and up, as you say. Here, pour it into this.
Okay. There you are, Doc.
And here's your money. That completes the transaction.
Thanks, Doc. Well, how about you, mister? You must have a million sweethearts, a handsome fellow like you.
Thanks, but I can't buy any today. Some other time I may run across you.
Okay. Thanks again, Doc. I'll be in to see you later. Remember, I can get you any brand you want. No duty, understand?
Yes, I understand perfectly.
And if you want imported liquor or wines, I can get them for you, too, at reasonable prices.
Quick, Doc. Phone headquarters and I'll be down later. Tell them I'm on the trail of a smuggling racket. I want to keep my eye on that peddler. His perfume smells swell, but his racket doesn't.
Now look, Van Schmidt. You imported perfumes from Holland. But now you can get shipments through, right?
Yeah, that is right.
So, in order to make yourself some money, you're going to handle the goods we smuggle in from the West Indies.
Oh, but that is dangerous.
None of it's handled right. Now look, you have a large supply of perfume and liquor on hand, on which you pay duty, right?
Yeah, that's right. Too much.
Okay. Now here's the way we handle this business. I'll set up a lot of small sales agencies to market the stuff through small peddlers.
Yeah?
You'll go on selling to your regular customers in the regular way at regular prices, including the duty you've paid legitimately.
Oh, but how can I...
Wait a minute till I get through. Now, every so often, the government will check on the amount you've sold.
Yeah, they do that.
Okay. But what they won't know is how much smuggled goods we ship into your warehouse and how much my sales organization takes out of your warehouse.
Yeah, but suppose maybe they catch one of your boats bringing in a load to my dock from...
No, they won't. We don't land our stuff in the regular way.
But where and how?
That's my secret, Hans.
But why not ship direct to your sales organization?
It might be traced back to the real source. This way, only you and I will know how much of the smuggled goods go through your warehouse.
But what do I get for the risk and the use of my name?
A cut on every bottle, every ounce that's sold. And that'll be plenty at our prices.
Okay. When do we start?
I've got a load hidden up the coast a piece. I'll bring some down tonight.
Very good. 1 minute, sir.
Yeah.
Come in.
Mr. Van Schmidt?
That's right.
Are you busy?
Well,
That's all right. I was just going. I'll see you tonight, Van Schmidt.
Yeah. That's right. Tonight you come.
Yes, so long.
Well, now, young man, you wish to speak with me?
Yes, I was in a store when one of your perfume salesmen came in. He offered me some perfume at a reduced price, but I didn't have the money at the time, so I couldn't buy any from him. But I borrowed some money later, and, well, you see, I have a date with my girl, and I thought...
Well, now, how do you know he was one of my salesmen? Besides, we don't sell retail.
Oh.
What makes you think he was one of my salesmen?
Well, one of the brands he carried, I understood, was imported exclusively by you.
Well, I am sorry. You will have to buy it from the stores in the regular way. We do not sell retail. Good day, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, too, sir. My mistake. Good day, sir.
Danny, I see you're in your Blue Beetle chain armor and mask. Where is the Blue Beetle headed for tonight?
The warehouse of Hans Van Schmidt.
You got a clue to the smugglers?
I think so. There was a man talking with Van Schmidt as I entered his office today. He said something about seeing Van Schmidt tonight.
You think he is one of the smugglers?
I don't know. But I want to be there when he visits Van Schmidt.
I always thought Van Schmidt was an honest Dutch importer. I buy perfumes from him frequently.
Well, I'm convinced he's mixed up in this somehow. And tonight I hope to solve the mystery.
Oh, by the way, here's an interesting item in the newspaper. Sort of a mystery, too.
What is it?
This item here, see.
Large whale sighted off Sandy Beach Light. Several fishermen reported seeing a large fish, probably a whale, just at dusk today as they were hauling in their nets. According to their story, the whale seemed to be feeding on garbage thrown overboard from the Southern Star, which was entering a port from its West Indies cruise. That's queer.
What's queer about it?
Whales don't eat garbage or refuse.
That's true.
I've got a hunch that wasn't a whale.
Then what was it?
That's a question the Blue Beetle will answer after tonight. I think the answer to our smuggling question may be in the stomach of that whale.
Is that you, Rankin?
Yes. I got Frenchy and the Viper with me. Open up.
Very good.
I got the stuff here. Okay, Frenchy. You and the Viper unload.
Okay.
Sure, boss.
Look out for that loading net over the door. It's heavy. It'll knock you cold if it falls on you.
All right, boss.
You know why I fixed that up there?
Sure, boss. If somebody comes in, we cut the hook and the net falls on him.
That's right. Keep your eyes peeled.
Sure, boss. We got you.
Where do you want this load put, Van Schmidt?
Put it back of those cases there. We sell this stuff in front first.
Okay. Put those cases and glass bottles back there, boys. Don't break any. That's expensive stuff.
Sure.
Okay, boss. Okay.
Come on, Viper. We take this belly stuff out.
Yeah. We'll need more room soon. I've got another shipment coming in tomorrow on a trawler.
Well, how was you expecting to bring that in?
I don't expect to. Not on the trawler.
Yeah, but you...
I meet her out of sight of land.
But your boat, the Coast Guard may see it going out.
Not this boat. This is something special. That Coast Guard will never get wise to the... Hey, that sounds like...
It's the Blue Beetle.
Yes, the Blue Beetle, and he's going to nip a band of smugglers.
Oh, no, he's not. I'm gonna...
No, don't shoot. The police will come.
They'll come anyhow, Hans Van Schmidt. They'll put you in jail with these smugglers here.
No. I am a respectable importer. These men here have tempted me with gold. They are bad men.
Stop squawking, Van Schmidt. You're in this as much as we are. Fancy?
Yes, boss, I know.
Don't move, any of you, or I'll burn you with my magic ray.
All right, Blue Beetle. How much money to keep your mouth shut?
Not a cent. You can't buy the Blue Beetle. As long as there's a crook at liberty, the Blue Beetle
Frenchie!
will...
Good work, Frenchie. Knocked him cold, all right.
Is he dead?
No, not yet.
Well, what are you going to do with him?
Keep your eyes open and you'll see. Hey, Frenchie.
Yes.
Open that door there in the water side.
Okay, boss.
All right, Viper. You and Frenchie, give me a hand here. We'll drag Mr. Blue Beetle over to the edge and drop him in.
Yeah, but that will be murder.
No. Just exterminating a pest. The Blue Beetle. All right, boys. Over he goes. Now, Mr. Blue Beetle, get out of that if you can.
What a terrible fate for the Blue Beetle. Will he be able to extricate himself from the net before he drowns? Or will the Blue Beetle's crusade against crime end here? These questions will be answered in the next transcribed episode of The Blue Beetle. Is a copyrighted Fox feature appearing in Mystery Men Comics magazine and the Blue Beetle magazine. The Blue Beetle is on the air twice a week on this same station. Consult the broadcast schedule in your local newspapers. And don't forget to listen in to The Blue Beetle. Sweeping down upon the underworld to smash gangland comes
The mysterious, all-powerful character who is a problem to the police, but a crusader for law. In reality, Dan Garrett, a rookie patrolman, loved by everyone, but suspected by none of being the Blue Beetle. As the Blue Beetle, he hides behind a strange mask and a suit of impenetrable blue chain armor, flexible as silk, but stronger than steel.
Today's transcribed episode of the Fox feature, The Blue Beetle, is the second part of a story entitled The Whale of Pirates' Folly. In the previous episode, Patrolman Dan Garrett, while engaged in running down a gang of perfume smugglers, uncovers a clue which leads him to the waterfront warehouse of a Mr. Hans Van Schmidt for perfumes. Also during the episode, he reads in the newspaper that what appeared to be a large whale has been sighted off the coast. The Blue Beetle is convinced that there is some connection between the smugglers and the whale. In an effort to apprehend some of the smugglers, Dan Garrett, as the Blue Beetle, pays a midnight visit to the warehouse of Van Schmidt, where he encounters the head of the smugglers, a man named Rankin, and two thugs named Frenchie and the Viper. As the episode ended, the Blue Beetle was trapped in a net and tossed overboard. As our story opens today, we find the Blue Beetle sticking his head above water for a breath of air.
Ah, that air feels good in my lungs. I don't relish the taste of that water. Lucky one end of this net caught on a spike. Now to burn my way out of this net with my magic ray. And now the Blue Beetle will fly again.
I can't understand, Doc, why Danny hasn't been in. He usually drops in here at night, don't he?
Yes, but he said something about having a date tonight.
Oh, don't tell me he's got a girl, Doc.
Well, he's old enough to have one.
He is at that. But somehow, Danny ain't much for the ladies. Now, when I was his age,
Excuse me, Mannigan. There's someone out front in there.
Well. If it ain't the Blue Beetle himself.
Well, yes, it does seem to be.
I'm looking for Dan Garrett.
Now, ain't that something? Well, Mr. Blue Beetle, if you'll come down to police headquarters with me, I'll...
Thanks, Mannigan, but I'm busy. Some other time,
Yeah,
perhaps.
come on now, and no fooling. It's the law that's speaking.
Put away your gun and handcuffs, Mannigan. I've got important news for Garrett. There's a chance for him to catch some smugglers.
Smugglers, is it? And why won't I do?
Can you fly a plane?
Well, I've flown him some, but Danny's better. He's an expert.
All right, then. When you see him, tell him to be cruising around in a plane offshore tomorrow at dusk. Tell him the Blue Beetle says to be on the lookout for a strange trawler off the coast. And also to keep his eyes open for a whale.
You sure gave Mannigan the surprise of his life last night, Danny, when you appeared as the Blue Beetle.
Yes, didn't I?
And that was fast thinking on your part, saying you were looking for Dan Garrett.
Poor Mannigan. He'd love to arrest the Blue Beetle and take him into headquarters.
Yes, he would.
But he's an honest officer of the law, and he's brave.
Hey, hello there, Danny.
Speak of the devil, and he's sure to appear.
Hello, Doc.
Hello, Officer Mannigan.
Say, Danny, who do you think I was talking to last night?
Some of your departed ancestors, I suppose. Were they complaining of the heat?
Ah, it's full of wisecracks you are this day. Well, they wasn't talking to me dear departed ancestors, and it ain't hot where they're sleeping. Lord rest their souls.
Then with whom were you talking, Mike?
With the Blue Beetles.
Oh, you're chumming around with him, are you?
Ah, don't be silly. I'd have pinched him if he hadn't given me a hot tip on a bunch of crooks.
Oh, what did he have to say?
Well, you come along with me and I'll tell you.
Where are we going?
We're going for an aeroplane ride.
And what will we be doing in an aeroplane?
We're going fishing.
Fishing?
Yes, fishing for whales.
What's that streak in the water down there to the left, Mike?
Well, that must be the whale the Blue Beetle told me about.
He's heading for Dead Man's Bay.
Yeah.
Let's follow him. I have a hunch if we capture that whale, we'll also capture a band of smugglers.
Well, your hunches are usually right, Danny.
Look, he's heading inshore.
Oh, he'll run aground in there.
I don't think so. Pretty deep in that cove of Pirate Folly.
And what's Pirate's Folly?
The ruins of a castle built years ago by a pirate chief on those cliffs down there.
Well, what do we do now?
You think you can fly this plane back to the field?
Yes, sir.
Well, you take the plane in, Mike, and bring a squad out here.
Well, what are you going to do?
I'm going to bail out with my parachute.
Yes, but you're liable to be killed on them rocks below.
That's a chance I'll have to take, Mike. So long. This is going to be a whale of a job if it turns out the way I think it will. These ruins would make an excellent hideout for smugglers. Natural caves and stone passages. I'll chance my flashlight. Well, this is a surprise. A mammoth cave with a lake in the center, under the ruins of Pirate's Folly. This is the smuggler's hideout, all right. Here's cases of bottles and large flagons of perfume piled high against the wall. Those must be barrels of oil and gasoline over there. What a place. Water tastes salty. This lake must have an underground outlet to the sea because there are marks of the tide on the beach there. Uh-oh. There's a ripple on the water. It looks as if old Mr. Whale has come to rest. He's coming to the surface. Just as I suspected, a small submarine with a searchlight on its nose. That's the whale that follows incoming ships and gobbles up whatever's thrown overboard. A very ingenious device for landing contraband cargo. They're opening the conning tower now. Here comes the showdown. I'll just unscrew the cap from this barrel of gasoline in case of an emergency.
Run it aground, McGowan. We won't be needing it till high tide.
Hey, boy, look! It's the Blue Beetle.
It can't be. The Blue Beetle's dead. We drowned him last night.
That's what you think, Rankin. It'll take more than you and your thugs to drown the Blue Beetle.
Piper, the machine gun.
I wouldn't advise using that, Rankin. There's gasoline and oil in these barrels here. If I should upset one of them, this lake of water would become a lake of fire with one blast of my magic ray.
You're bluffing, Blue Beetle. You wouldn't dare. You'll be caught soon.
You forget, Rankin. I'm at the only exit left except the underground tunnel to the sea. Your little submarine is grounded now.
It's 3 against 1, Blue Beetle. You can't win.
Think so? Make one false move and see what happens. The police will be here shortly, and you and your gang of smugglers will be on your way to jail.
Let's give it to him. Take the chance, boss.
I don't like cops, and I don't like the Blue Beetle. I'm guilty.
You asked for it. Here goes. That will teach you not to doubt the word of the Blue Beetle.
What will we do, boss? The fire is coming out to the boat.
Go below. Close the hatch and make this the first part of the submarine until the fire burns out.
Okay.
But first, toss the Viper overboard. He brought this on us. Oh, no, you don't. You don't toss me overboard. I got the gun, and I'm going to use it. And from now on, I'm running this racket.
What happened then, Danny?
Well, fortunately, the barrel of gasoline I tipped over and set afire burned itself out on the surface of the water without setting the other barrels afire. But it burned long enough to keep the Viper trapped until Manigan and the others arrived. They arrested the Viper and confiscated the cargo of the submarine.
Well, what about Rankin and Frenchy?
Dead. Both shot by the Viper.
And Hans Van Schmidt?
He's in jail.
Well, how did you, as the Blue Beetle, manage to escape Officer Manigan and the other police officers?
I managed to reach the surface and put my police uniform back on over my Blue Beetle costume before they arrived.
Well, it certainly was a thrilling experience.
Yes, it was, Doc. It's also rather tough on Van Schmidt. He was a respectable businessman until he got involved with Rankin.
Yes, it is tough. Oh, excuse me, Danny. Hello? Oh, yes, Manigan. All right, I'll tell him. Goodbye. Oh, Danny, Mike Manigan says the commissioner wants to see you both first thing in the morning.
That's fine. Maybe you'll have a new assignment for the Blue Beetle.
And so the Blue Beetle chalks up another victory in his crusade against crime. The moral of this story is, evil companions can bring honest men to disaster. Choose your friends and companions wisely. What new adventures await the Blue Beetle in his next campaign against the forces of evil? This question will be answered in the next transcribed episode of the Blue Beetle. Is a copyrighted Fox feature appearing in Mystery Men Comics magazine and the Blue Beetle magazine. The Blue Beetle is on the air twice a week on this same station. Consult the broadcast schedule in your local newspapers. And don't forget to listen in to the Blue Beetle.